Hey everyone, welcome into Edie's Attic. My name is Jenny. I am here with your Monday energy read for the week, getting into everything, getting the ball rolling. I channeled a really long download, so I did journal. I wrote everything down in my notes. I'm going to read it to you exactly how I received it, and then I'm going to follow with an oracle pull to do some confirmations and see if there's anything else that Divine wants us to know for the week ahead. So let me just get started with my message. And this is very specific in regards to how we as humans work through our shadows and work through conflict and resolution. So it says, if we don't fully understand our own feelings and our triggers that create the unconscious reactions and emotions that we experience, we use the reactions and interactions from others externally as a catalyst and a form of validation to help us further break down and understand why we feel as we do. So it's like we use the conflicts and the interactions and the conversations and the experiences that are both good and bad to us, how we perceive it, in order to feel an emotion, understand why the emotion is created, and to introspect, to go in deep and to understand, why do I feel the way I do? Why do I respond the way that I do? Why did I interact the way that I did? What is it that this person is saying or doing, or the things that are happening externally around me? Why do they make me feel the way I do when these things happen outside of myself? Then it says emotional experiences tied into others, where we merge energetic journeys and perceive one another as karmic connections, is our spiritual and mental bodies creating circumstances that will ultimately reveal more truths within ourselves with each interaction as they happen. So every time we have an external conflict and are forced to understand why we were triggered, when we merge our energies with other individuals, other souls outside of our own, and we're forced to understand why we responded or interacted in the way that we do, we are being called to view these interactions, these conflicts, these hurdles in our life as lessons, as stepping stones, as we're leveling up and learning ourselves and understanding ourselves on a much deeper level. So it's divine just wants us to keep that into perspective when we approach a situation or deal with individuals where we feel like, I've been here before. I've done this before with someone else. I feel like I've had this interaction or this altercation before in my past. Well, some of us may take that as a burden or look at it as, why do I pull in like a magnet the same circumstances over and over again? They want us to look at it from the perspective of, I haven't learned something about myself within these kinds of situations. What haven't I seen in regards to how I respond to this? Maybe you have a habit of not responding and keeping your thoughts or your feelings to yourself. And that is like a red flag or a sign for you from spirit that you have to speak up for yourself finally. We have seen you go through this same exact experience numerous amount of times. Now, maybe you need to say something on your behalf. Or perhaps whenever you are exposed to this experience, you react with anger And this is time for you to learn to be more empathetic to the opposite energy that you are coming up against, and receiving the alternate or the opposite energy from you with love and compassion and understanding. Everyone in this collective is facing different lessons, but you are truly the one that has to keep repeating these lessons over and over and over again until you understand what it is within these situations that you must take from and learn from. So that is like the major message that I'm getting from Spirit in regards to this collective right now, is that a lot of us feel that things are happening to us out of our control, that we just don't understand why. And we're feeling there's a lot of like victim mentality, a lot of defeat, a lot of why me? When are things going to get better? It really is perspective, and to take everything that life is handing to you and do something different with it. Learning our triggers, learning our emotional responses, learning the shadows within us and why we react the way that we do, and why does this affect me so much? Why does this affect me? Why do I allow an external source to affect me in this manner? Then I have, it's through our external conflicts that we are forced to resolve internally before a physical resolution happens. Introspection. So every single outside external conflict and situation that happens to us, we ultimately have to go in first, no matter what. We always do. Maybe we're not aware of it, but we are always going in first and almost doing like this self-talk to ourselves. If something plays out in our lives where we're talking to ourselves, a lot of times we ask ourselves, why did this happen? When are things going to get better? Why would this person treat me in this manner? Why would my job lay me off? Why would my child not want to spend time with me? Why would, there's so many numerous things. But we are forced to have to internally understand parts of a situation before moving forward externally and resolving. And it's also a call from Spirit for you, collective, to not be so impulsive with your responses and reactions, because sometimes if you sit with the information, if you sit with yourself for a little while longer before responding or moving on a situation, oftentimes we will find where we played a part in our own demise or our own setbacks or our own conflicts. Somehow, some way, we all do add an energy to a situation for things to happen to us. And it could be, sometimes it's just miscommunication, poor communication with others, not being completely transparent. And not that it's intentional or that we do it out of malice or spite, but sometimes we hold back information to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves safe, to keep our souls and our hearts safe from being hurt or broken. There's so many things that come into the dynamic of energies merging together and conflicts and resolutions and how things play out. But you have to remember that we do all add our energy to a situation. So it is our responsibility and obligation to understand exactly what part we played in the situation before jumping to a response. Because oftentimes when we impulsively jump in to respond, it comes from a very emotional place, a place that is operated like solely by our egos. And we have to not move by ego, but move by spirit, move by our soul, move by love, move by our heart chakra. So this is like a huge like message for everyone in this collective, that it's our responsibility to start making choices and moving with more intention and not so much impulsivity, if that's a word. The last thing I have here is hermit mode. It says overstimulation via numerous facets that we retreat and place blocks to keep external influences and stimuli from intruding on our deep state of introspection. So, for people that have experienced like hermit mode or are familiar with that term, or find themselves closing off to like everyone and everything in the outside world for a period of time, that is what this part is about. It's where you have had so many numerous interactions and conflicts with outside external sources. And this doesn't even have to be human to human. This could be situations with, bills, money, a car breaking down, house repairs, the washer broke, the dog has to go to the vet. You get to this point where there's so many different outside stimuli triggering you that you can't and you don't have the mental, spiritual, physical capacity to take it all in anymore. You're like, I need to stop everything from coming at me. I'm closing off. And that often looks like not communicating with friends, family, loved ones, associates, colleagues, people. You do a cutoff with everyone outside yourself because you have to like find your center again. You are in this like headspace of, I have to deal with so much and I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy resource within myself to face all these different facets head on right now, that I have no room to take in any more stimuli from anyone else at this point. Life would be easier if I just put up my walls and block everything from coming at me. And yes, we all have done it. Maybe not all of us, but I know I have several points in my life where I have closed off and put up walls to everything outside myself in order for me to have peace in my own spirit and in my own mental space. Sometimes it's very necessary to close off and go into hermit mode. It's almost like our chakra systems start going haywire and they're so unbalanced, and our mental space is so cluttered. It is so necessary for us to just retreat, regroup. I like to say this word a lot, recalibrate. Let our systems settle down and even out before we open up again and start allowing external sources to have access to our energy. So, for some of you specifically, you may be in this place where you're feeling extremely overwhelmed and there's just too much for you to handle at this point. And you're battling with this need to be alone, but because of your loving nature and your giving nature of who you are on a soul level, you don't want to hurt people around you by closing off. So you're like stuck. You don't want to close off to anyone that you love and care for, but you also know that you need time to yourself. So this is a message for you specifically from Spirit saying, take that time for yourself, because burnout can and will absolutely happen if we overextend ourselves beyond our capabilities. And when we think that we can do more than we intuitively, physically know we can handle, that is our ego stepping in. That's our ego trying to take the lead here and tell us, hey, no, 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 you can do this. Oh, no, 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 you can add that on too. You got this. If you don't do it all, what will people think of you? What kind of mom would you be? What kind of dad would you be? What kind of spouse? What kind of employee? All these things start running through your head. I got this. I have to prove myself. But to whom? At the end of the day, If your spirit is drained and your soul feels shattered and empty and tired, and your physical body is a reflection of your spiritual body, you're going to start getting sick. And what good are we if we can't physically be present here? Our first job is to take care of ourselves and our physical vessels, and to making sure that it can hold the energy within and provide a temple for our spirit and soul. And so your obligation, number one, is to yourself. And I know it sounds selfish, but if you are not physically well and your spirit is suffering, how are you going to be any help to the people around you moving forward into the future? So you definitely, these are for the people that are feeling that burnout and they're feeling like they're just at the very, very end of their rope. This is a call for you from Spirit to take your much needed rest and to close out the people around you. Maybe let them know, I just need time. It's nothing personal. I love you. I just need to take care of me right now. So let me pull a few cards and then we will wrap this up. I am going to pull from Oracle of the Universe by Stacy DeMarco. Let's see, Spirit, anything else that this collective needs to know going into this week? Anything else? Please and thank you. And I'm also getting not to feel shame or embarrassment for taking time to take care of you. It's the ultimate form of love, self-love. Loving yourself is loving the collective. When we all take time to take care of ourselves, it is because we're all connected by energy. It is actually helping heal the collective as a whole. So we must always make sure that we're taking care of ourselves spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, in all capacities. So we do have two cards that came out. We have number 19, the Oracle. It says forecast. I am the Oracle. My intuitive insights flow freely. And then number 43, Father of the Sky, God. I release the weight of the world from my shoulders. For many of you, if not all, that listen to these messages and that are in this collective, you are a divine being. You have the soul and the spark of God within you. We all do. All of us have a spark of God within us. And again, we are all connected by source energy. We're all one. You have extreme potential and you hold within yourself beautiful powers of the universe. You are an oracle. You have the ability to understand energy and to feel the emotions and the energies of those around you. You can foresee what will happen into the future, and you have intuitive abilities that you may have tapped into, but if you haven't yet, it is a call for you to start practicing and start learning those parts of yourself and understanding them. And you may find that those things, those abilities within yourself will actually become more prominent and more skilled as you spend time alone and retreat. We have Father of the Sky, God. This is a call from Spirit for you to release the burdens of the world that are happening around you right now, that are dragging you and your spirit down so far. These things that are coming into your life, into your energy, that are creating these blockages for you to tap into your intuitive abilities. These hurdles, these conflicts, these situations, these everyday things that happen. They shouldn't be taking up and consuming so much of your mind space. God is asking for you to give it up to the universe. Let it go. Take care of the things that you need to take care of, but don't overburden the mind space with them. Things are going to happen in your life again. So again, this reminds me of the beginning of the reading when we were talking about how every single situation and conflict that requires us to introspect and have like a soul found resolution, and then we like find so many conflicts throw us into hermit mode because we have to deal with all these different obstacles that are being presented to us, and we're overstimulated and overloaded. This is where God is saying, let it go. We don't have to dwell on every single movement that happens externally outside of ourselves. People around us are also battling with learning themselves and understanding why they operate the way in which they do. And that is not our job to understand why others operate in the way that they do. That is their job, as it is yours to understand yourself and to take care of yourself and to nurture yourself spiritually and physically. I mean, if you look at the card here, you have a man holding up the world. And this, I feel, is you right now. I feel like you have a lot on your shoulders weighing you down, which is counterproductive to spiritually ascending at this time. You need to release and let go of the mental weight that you add to every situation. As the situations are happening, view them just as that. This is happening. I've been here before. What do I need to learn from this? And then let it go. Just let it release it. It is what it is. Move it along. On to the next. I'm moving along. Learn your lessons, understand, and then move it along. The bottom of the deck, we have number 9, copious, the seer, visionary. I chart the stars, the signs, and symbols to craft magic. Crows may be significant for you right now. You may be seeing them. I don't know if that's a crow or a raven, but I feel like it's a crow. You're being called to explore things that you have been curious about. There's a lot of curiosity here that's being unexplored. You are not paving the time out or carving out enough time for yourself to be immersed into all those things that you have curiosities. See, because what happens is, number 3, the winged messenger. What happens is when you finally decide to stop letting external factors consume your mind space, and you open up the space in your mind and allow yourself to be that visionary, to seek all that you want to learn and to explore your creative side, and to allow yourself to live and just be free from burden and from conflict, we become the creators. It says creation, spiritual direction inspires my creative flow. Well, how do we get to spiritual direction if we're not even focusing on our spiritual paths? How do we become the creator if we don't have time to indulge ourselves in all that we seek and desire? If we are constantly in a state of stress, if we're constantly in a place of conflict, and we're consistently worrying about everything outside of ourselves versus going within, exploring ourselves, and indulging ourselves in the things that inspire us and that make us, I don't know, come alive energetically. that light us up, then we'll never be able to reach the creator position. Creation comes from visions. Visions come from a clear mind space. And that happens when we release and give it to God and allow ourselves to be free of the burdens that hold us captive and hold us prisoner within our own mindscape. There's a lot of energy right now of people holding on to past situations, past transgressions, things that maybe we've done or said, situations that happened that were completely out of our control, but for some reason we hold ourselves accountable for other people's actions. We cannot do that. Hold yourself accountable for your own actions and start by practicing forgiveness with yourself. When we don't do things intentionally to hurt others, but we respond, say impulsively, out of emotion because we're operating from the ego. And then we learn our lessons from our past mistakes and we make every effort to become a better version of ourselves and to understand why we did what we did and how we were triggered and knowing better for the next time. But yet, we're still holding on to the fact that we did what we did. We're never letting it go. We don't practice forgiveness with ourselves. Spirit's saying it's time to let those things go. What had happened, happened. You learned your lesson. You grew from it. You became a better person because of it. And it's time to move forward. That you are holding yourself prisoner to your own past. And that should not happen anymore for you to let it go. And if you're still holding on to it for some reason, there may be parts of how you behave that you still don't fully understand and you're still working through. And then again, that's a pull to the hermit mode, into going into deep introspection and allowing and giving yourself the space and the time to discover the reasons why you acted the way you did or behaved the way that you did or moved the way you did. And then healing that part of yourself. And then moving on and letting go. Any which way, Spirit just wants you to acknowledge your interactions with people around you and understanding that every interaction is definitely for your highest good. And to not burden yourself with holding on to past situations anymore, that you should be very much present and right here in the now, because you're missing out on a lot that's happening around you while your mental space is in the past. It's a call to let go, to release, give it to God, because once you do, you're going to be opening up so much space within your heart and soul to allow what it is that you are here to do, what's unique to you. You're going to be inspired in a way to follow a path where you're going to become the creator, not only of these ideas and these visions, but the creator of your own life. It's time for you, collective, to take the wheel on this journey and to control the direction in which you are traveling. So that is your weekly message. I really hope it helped you guys. Please like and subscribe and share. Comment as well down below if you found this message helpful. I really appreciate it. Anyways, have a really beautiful Monday, and I will catch you all on the next one. Bye.